So there's this really fascinating dynamic playing out inside India's ruling party. It's a story of two very distinct poles of power, and it's something that analysts have been watching very, very closely. Today, we're going to break down what our sources say it all means. And the stage for all of this? It's Uttar Pradesh. You have to understand, this state is so huge, so electorally important, that whatever happens here politically really does set the tone for the entire country. The ripples from UP are felt everywhere. At the very heart of this are two of the party's most powerful figures. You've got Amit Shah, the master strategist operating from the national capital, Delhi, and then you have the chief minister, Yogi Adityanath, in the state capital, Lucknow. Right there, you see two different centers of gravity, all within the same political party. A key insight from our sources frames this just perfectly. It says, in Indian politics, power is not just a game of thrones, it is a battle of narrative, control, and the future. And that tells you everything. We're looking at something much deeper than just a political rivalry here. It's about who controls the story, the power, and the entire direction of the party moving forward. Okay, so first up, let's get into how these two poles of power even emerged. How can two distinct centers of gravity exist inside a party that's known for being so disciplined? What we're really seeing here is a classic political tension, a kind of tug of war. On one side, you have the party's central command in Delhi. On the other, a very powerful, very popular leader on the ground. And this isn't just about two people. It's a structural challenge that almost any big, successful party has to figure out eventually. And a lot of this tension, well, it really comes down to their completely different political styles and where they get their power from. It's basically a clash of strategy versus a massive popular base. So, here you see two totally different models of power. Amit Shah is the master strategist, the Chanakya figure, running things from Delhi with this intense focus on electoral math and social engineering. But then you have Yogi Adityanath. He's the face with the mass appeal, whose power comes from this incredible journey from a monastery to the chief minister's office, all backed up by this tough-on-crime image. And all of this, these different styles, it all leads to the real heart of the matter, a battle for control. The analysts we're looking at suggest this isn't really a personal thing. It's a political struggle over who has autonomy and who has the final say. You could honestly boil this whole thing down to one simple but huge question. Can a state as massive and as important as Uttar Pradesh be remote-controlled from Delhi? Or does its popular chief minister need complete freedom to run things his way? Well, the thing is, the answer isn't that simple. As one analyst points out, Yogi Adityanath isn't just a chief minister. He's become a political brand all on his own. And when you have that kind of independent brand recognition, it makes any kind of simple top-down control from the central leadership, well, incredibly complicated. And this is a really, really important point from our source. When election results don't meet those high expectations, the conversation suddenly shifts. It's no longer about just one person's performance. It becomes a debate about the entire model. Which approach is actually better? The centralized, data-driven strategy from Delhi or the personality-driven strongman model on the ground? Now, things get really interesting right after the 2024 general election results. This was a moment that wasn't defined by what was said, but by what wasn't said. So what happened? Well, after the results came in, there was just silence. A really noticeable silence from both Delhi and Lucknow. No big public statements, no detailed breakdowns about the performance in Uttar Pradesh from either side. And you have to understand, in the world of high-stakes politics, silence is almost never just an absence of noise. It's often the most powerful statement you can make. It's a calculated move that lets everyone guess and speculate while the real realignments happen behind closed doors. So, does this all mean it's an all-out war, that things are broken beyond repair? Well, maybe not. Our final section looks at another way of seeing this, not as a clash, but as a big institutional test for the party itself. So we have to ask ourselves, are we looking at a genuine, deep-seated conflict here, or is it something else? Something more like a natural, even necessary, rebalancing of power that just happens inside any huge, dominant political party? Well, according to our sources, this is better understood not as a conflict, but as a test of coordination. The idea is that the party actually needs both of these things to win. It needs the central strategist, and it needs the popular regional leader. The real test, then, is getting these two essential, powerful poles to work in sync for the good of the whole party. And that idea, it plugs right into the party's core belief. The institution, the party itself, is always bigger than any one person. At the end of the day, the party's survival and its success depend on being able to manage these powerful figures and use their unique and sometimes competing strengths. And all of this leaves us with one last really pointed question that just hangs over this whole situation. In politics, it's not always about who is right. It's about who is necessary and for how long.